Okay, how's everybody doing? Welcome to my channel. I know that it's been a couple days since I've done posts. If some of you are not receiving my notifications, make sure that you kind of, I guess, troubleshoot your YouTube and figure out what's going on. I know that somebody messaged me today saying that they couldn't get it or they haven't been seeing it. So I'm trying something new. Y'all let me know what you think from this angle, if this is a better view. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, this is the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 14, episode 11 review. They called it cabin fever. I call it icon versus ex-con because that's essentially what it was that we were watching. And for me, I feel like this entire, I think for the past 3 episodes with Marlo, it's Marlo doing her whole guilty conscience type behavior, actions type thing. Marlo is guilty of how she kicked out her nephews, knowing what they've gone through, knowing that she accepted that responsibility and put them on camera. Maybe she was trying to do it to get the piece she got. I don't know what her reasoning was. But for Marlo to now sit here and play the complete victim, saying that she's going through a lot, she's emotionally down, and I'm trying to figure out what it is that created that mindset that has her going through a lot. Now, Sanya made excuses for her later on in the episode. I'm gonna get to it, but I don't think those excuses are valid. I look at Marlo and I know that she still brags about money. She planned this entire trip and she's spending money unless production did it for her. She's still living the lavish life she had before. If anything, she may be depressed because she don't have a man, or she's not, doing her escort job like she was doing before. The whole thing about it is I feel like she's adopting this woe is me persona because she doesn't want the world to look at her the way that Candy looks at her, the way that Kenya looks at her, the way that her own sister looked at her last episode. So for me, I'm not feeling sorry for her. I feel 1000% Kenya is Marlo's karma and Marlo is Kenya's karma because they both have done some janky stuff in the past, and Marlo wants to act like she's a victim now. Girl, bye. Now we have the trip continues. Marlo, if they showed us in the screen, Marlo's over there trying to twerk her thighs. Her butt wasn't moving, so I just looked, all I saw was jiggling thighs. The rest of her weren't moving. So I said, girl, you go on and work them thighs then. Then they showed Sanya, and Sanya, who has no booty, was just twerking her knees. I mean, all these different unique twerk skills that they're developing. We know twerking is not for your knees or for your thighs, but girl, if that's what's twerking, then go ahead and twerk that. Then we have a reminder of Marlo giving Kenya an ultimatum that if Kenya wasn't going to stay in the house with them, she cannot stay in the house with them. Kenya, of course, is she's my vibes. I don't know who Marlo thinks she is. I don't know if she thinks she's the queen of Sheba. I don't even think she's on Needy's level. But you are not about to tell me where I can and cannot stay. I don't give a damn. You sitting up here saying, oh my gosh, this is my trip. It's my trip. Everybody knows that in every Real Housewives franchise, there is a person who plans a trip. It's part of the franchise. This time, because you got a peach, you the one who planned the trip. But we have had several events that Marlo has gone through in the 14 seasons the 13, 12, whatever season that she's been on, where Marlo was the person who went there and messed things up. Y'all remember when her and Sheree were arguing in one of the getaways, and she told Sheree that she needs to go home and keep hanging out with FAGGOTS people? That was Marlo in an event in a getaway that she was an extra in, or a location that she was an extra. She didn't even have a peach at that point. So for you to sit here and act like you will now tell Kenya what to do, Kenya is my spirit girl. You ain't finna tell me what to do. I'm gonna go wherever I wanna go, when I wanna go. So here's Kenya coming in at 9:04 a.m., strutting her fine stuff in there after she didn't have a nice, good rest at her location that she chose. She's gonna march her behind here, and Marlo is so pressed. Marlo is pressed when it comes to Kenya. I feel like Marlo's jealousy for Kenya is why she keeps picking at Kenya and saying some of the hurtful things she says about Mark and some of the deeper issues that she keeps hitting Kenya with. She has some jealousy towards her, and I think it's worse when Kenya is paying her dust and being dismissive. If somebody's being dismissive to you, to them, you don't matter. You're worse than dirt. I don't have time to give you any of my attention. My time is money, and you're not worth my time. That's essentially what it means when you're dismissing somebody. So Marlo, who feels like she has all this money, feels like she's up there, and Kenya's going to treat her the way she treats her, is going to feel some type of way. She feels low, and so she's going to make it an issue the entire episode. So Kenya comes in, and Marlo doesn't know yet that Kenya is in the house. Kenya first goes, says hello to Drew, who's in her bed talking to her husband Ralph as he's getting the kids ready. Then Somehow Kenya is sitting down, and after Marlo has now, I guess, found out somehow through the grapevine that Kenya is in the building, Sanya is sitting with Kenya, and Marlo comes over there and says something along the lines of, Kenya, I want to talk to you. Kenya is not trying to talk to her, because obviously Kenya is smart enough to know that if she even entertains Marlo for one conversation, Marlo's going to somehow try to kick her out. And Kenya wasn't going to leave. She was going to stay there and force her presence, even if it irritates Marlo. So she wasn't trying to talk to her. But Sanya, with her newly found bone carrying behind, decides to go and talk to Kenya. And quite frankly, Sanya is working every fiber of my nerves. That heifer. Some of y'all may like Sanya. She is not my cup of tea. I feel like she's messy. I feel like she doesn't have any real storyline aside from her inviting them to Jamaica. And I feel like she inserts herself in issues that don't have anything to do with her and makes it her issue. Just like she did with Drew and Sheree. She's very, very messy. And for me, you need to worry about going home and giving your husband another child more so than you're worried about somebody else's drama that don't have nothing to do with you. You're putting more effort into that than effort into figuring out what y'all want to do for your own family. That's crazy to me. She's sitting there having a conversation with Kenya. We know Kenya doesn't see it for Marlo. She knows Kenya don't see it for Marlo. But she decides to bring up Marlo's gift, supposed gift that Marlo has waived. She goes, Marlo has a gift. We know Marlo don't have a gift for her. Marlo used the fact that she has something to give her or some nonsense because she wants to force Kenya to come talk to her. But Kenya is not materialistic. I don't care if that gift is worth $10 million. I'm still not going to talk to you. We know Marlo was lying. Marlo ain't got nothing for Kenya. That's a lie. Then we have Sanya now bringing up the beef between her and Marlo, having nothing to do with her. So Kenya told her the truth. Listen, I don't have to give Marlo any fiber of my energy. Because first of all, if she can't treat her nephews right, who are related to her by blood, how the heck is she gonna treat me right? And I don't have any ties to her. And Kenya was 1000% correct. But what Kenya told us is what Marlo did is essentially a trigger for her. Because Kenya, we know, does not have a good relationship with her mother. Her mother doesn't even want to talk to her through a door. But she had to go live with her grandmother. And for whatever reason, maybe Kenya was a difficult child because of all the psychological stuff that she was going through with her mother. Either way, she was entitled to deal with things as a child should deal with it. But the grandmother was overwhelmed with her, couldn't handle her, got sick of her, and just basically wanted her to leave. So all night she cried her eyes out and eventually ended up crawling through a window, dropping and rolling, and running away. And they couldn't find her for a number of days. So when Marlo sits up here and fixes her lips and says that she got so sick of her nephew, she kicked them out. And then she brought the camera to show the camera crew why she kicked them out. And there's a hole in the wall. It's a dirty room. It's kids shoving stuff under the bed and shoving stuff inside the closet like kids are supposed to do when they're lashing out when something is hurting them. Instead of figuring out what's hurting them and talking through it or getting them help, you kick them out as if their feelings don't matter or as if them themselves don't matter. So of course Kenya is gradually losing respect for Marlo as an individual entirely. She has every right to do so. So she expresses this to Sanya. Sanya's stupid self is on the confessional talking about Marlo is going through a lot. If she's not here to support her, I said Marlo is going through a lot just like every other human being is going through a lot. And quite frankly, I have more sympathy for those nephews she kicked out than I do for her, who has all her money to keep her company. Period. Marlo is actively playing this victim role, maybe to kind of overshadow what she did with the nephew so people wouldn't see how harsh her decision was. Even if you throw money to your sister, you gave your sister, who had kids of her own, 4 kids of her own, 2 more kids on top of that to now take care of because you needed a break. Child by. If you are a parent, you don't need breaks from your kids. And if you accept the responsibility, you have as an adult have to consider the level of responsibility you're accepting. You chose that responsibility, marketed them on TV, told everybody you're a Monty, was so proud to say, oh, I'm trying to provide them with better things in life. I'm trying to introduce them to things because you wanted accolades for that. Then you sit up there at the moment that it gets difficult and you throw them away like a piece of trash. But now you're feeling bad? Girl, bye. Then we have Sanya now being the bone carrier. She's going to take that information with her and Sheree over to Marlo to now piss Marlo off. Now, for Sanya to sit up here and say Marlo's going through a lot, you already know that Kenya and Marlo do not have a good relationship. Yes, you know, bitch. So why would you now take a negative information to Marlo knowing that she's also in this alleged volatile situation? That makes absolutely no sense. That's why I look at Sanya with a side eye. She had the nerve to get on that confessional talking about, I just want to be the peacemaker, girl. If you wanted to be the peacemaker, you should have kept your mouth shut. She went there and she told Marlo, Kenya had a lot to say. I like you both. That's how she started it. When somebody starts something like this, they're going to say some nonsense. She said, I like you both. Marlo, I like Kenya. But Kenya had a lot to say. And I just feel like if she's not here to support, she shouldn't be here. Girl, Marlo has done stuff to Kenya that she was supportive. Number one. Number two, Sanya, you're new. You don't know the history that these ladies have to insert yourself in another drama that does not concern you. There has been several bad blood over the years between Kenya and Marlo. Let me tell you why. When Nene was present, right? Nene and Marlo were thick as thieves. Then Nene broke her relationship with Marlo when Marlo befriended Kenya. Kenya thought that Marlo was a friend to her, even though she knew that it pissed Nene off. She also chose to still get to know Marlo. It got so bad to where they went to some kind of game. I don't know if it was a baseball game or a softball game, and something got thrown at Marlo. Marlo was crying and saying it hurts that Nene would just throw her away like that just because she's friends with Kenya, because Nene wanted to control the situation. Then, as time went by, Marlo got good with Nene again, and again started talking to Kenya crazy. And it kind of hit a breaking point that season when Marlo looked at Kenya in that little circle they had and said, if somebody mama don't even want them, then you know that tells you how bad they are. First of all, it is not Kenya's fault that her mother did not want to keep her. She was the child in the equation. And for you to fix your lips that you had spent on several men to get your money, and you would say something like that, that would have been the last time that I had a conversation with someone like Marlo. But Kenya chose to open her heart and still befriend Marlo. Now, Kenya is not by far the nicest person in the world, but there are certain things that you just don't do. And with Marlo has said several crazy things with the FAGGOTS. She said to Sheree, she goes below the belt. And we didn't find out last episode that the reason she did that was because her mama taught her how to be stupid with her loud mouth too. So for her to sit up here now and start booing and crying and act like she's a victim, I don't feel sorry for this heifer. But then we have Marlo now running her mouth, and she decides to say this prayer that was accompanied with some shade at Kenya's age. And I just said, you know, this prayer ain't get higher, it didn't get higher than the damn ceiling. It's still there. It's still lingering. That prayer just was not heard by nobody, girl. That was supposed to be shade. It was not a good one. So then they get out, and before they get on the Splinter to go to another irrelevant location, Marlo says, I want to speak to you, Kenya. Kenya is like, I don't want to talk to this girl. So she's running around the house trying to do everything she can to avoid Marlo. And of course, Marlo is understanding and feeling even small. Kenya showed up to her event. Kenya is not following her rules. Kenya is also paying her dust. And on top of that, in the house that she apparently chose and maybe possibly paid for, or at least production didn't do it, she's still walking around the house. I think that's also one of the reasons why Kenya felt comfortable to come into the house, is because it wasn't on Marlo's dime. I think it was somebody else who paid for it. Marlo may have selected it, but production paid for it, which is why their cameras can be in there, which is why Kenya is doing whatever the heck she can do around that house without Marlo feeling that she can kick her out. Or maybe Marlo paid for it. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is financially. Maybe y'all know. I don't know the intricacies of that. But I do know that Kenya was running around because she was trying to both piss Marlo off. And then Kenya said in her confessional that Marlo reminds her of the type of emotional abusive relationship that she dealt with Mark. Because Mark, who she's supposed to love her and care for her, did say and do things to intentionally hurt her. And it was a passive aggressive way. When you hurt people, you're hurting yourself. So hurt people. And the person she married to was treating her like a piece of garbage and just talking like about her like a dog and feeling like what she's supposed to just take it. So having that type of toxic relationship with Marlo, Kenya is over it. And Marlo keeps picking at her. If she's not talking about her mama, she's talking about her husband and how Mark left her. See, this is why you can't confide in Marlo. So now Kenya's done with her. At this point, the door is closed to our friendship. So she don't want to talk to her. She don't want to hear what you have to say. We don't need to discuss nothing. I don't have anything to say to you at this point. You've done enough, and you said enough to me. So they get into the little group, and Marlo's like, I've been asking you to talk to you woman to woman. Kenya's like, I don't want to talk to you. I said no. And Candy decides to insert herself, saying, you know, you keep talking about how people talk behind your back. And Kenya's like, I don't want to speak to somebody who's rude to me. I'm with her. I don't want to speak to somebody who's rude to me either. It is what it is at this point, Marlo. Kenya don't want nothing to do with you. Just go and enjoy your time. And she's enjoying her time. Kenya is not angry. She's not screaming. She's not belligerent. She had a conversation with Sanya. She spoke her mind and spoke her truth. Sanya should have kept her mouth shut. She didn't. So Marlo's trying to find all these different ways to kick Kenya out, and Kenya's not going. So that's an issue. So they end up waiting because she ain't gonna get in the car with Kenya. So it ended up being like an hour and 30 minutes. They still haven't left to go wherever they want to go. Then we get to Fatum's scene. Fatum's Splinter, whatever her name is, wants camera time. Fatum is doing the absolute most. This heifer wants camera time so bad because Drew did not do anything to you. Drew and Sheree had their beef. It was between them. You inserted your 2 cents in. Did nobody sent for you? This ain't the baby gap. Keep your 2 cents to yourself. She inserted herself into it. And now to get more camera time, maybe she wants to peach next, she's targeting Drew and exaggerating a situation that really isn't that serious. So now Drew's responding. At a certain point, girl, child, leave Drew alone. She don't want you. She ain't standing for you. The one trying to do background checks on somebody you don't even know. You just saw Drew for the girl. Bye. Fatum's a hot mess. She's a hot mess and she's annoying as hell. Then Drew calls her lapdog. Drew's barking and talking about, I don't know why. I assume that Drew is calling her a lapdog because Drew feels like maybe she's fighting Sheree's battle. But I thought that Sheree don't forgive stuff. I thought that Sheree and Drew got in a better place after that whole ordeal with the assistant. But hell, I guess not, because Fatum's gonna keep running her mouth, acting like she's defending her friend, but she ain't. She just looks so dumb and so desperate for the camera to just come on. She wanted some time. Then we have, she wants to show up in the reunion and still cause some nonsense. Then we have Kenya on a trampoline in the back of the house enjoying herself, not even feeling Marlo's presence. Marlo has spent an hour and 30 minutes keeping this ladies from doing what they're supposed to do, thinking that it would exhaust Kenya, frustrate her to where Kenya would leave. Kenya did not go. I admire Kenya's strength. Kenya said, I'm not leaving. You can't make me leave. I'm not going nowhere. I don't care how you feel about this. This is where I'm going to stay because I can go wherever the heck I want to go, whether you like it or not. And Marlo, I'm still going to show up to wherever it is you plan. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to enjoy and have my best life. So she over here jumping on the trampoline, not giving a care. And of course, the more dismissive that Kenya is towards Marlo, the angrier Marlo is getting. I know that Sanya at some point popped her head into Kenya's car trying to talk about how Kenya is being dismissive and how why she should be Sanya, shut up. Nobody wants to see your face in this camera. It is not your place to go there and try to deal with things that you don't even know about. This is years. If anything, Candy may have been the one to say something because she knows their history, but child, you don't. You were extra in the situation. Go sit down somewhere. You're new. You know, you haven't even earned your time at this point. Then they finally decide to go. Marlo jumps on the trampoline, says, you know, the trampoline took her straight to heaven. She's able to heal herself. She gets up and she says she don't want to be in the car with Kenya, but she's going to end up, everybody's going to go to where they're going. I'm thinking this is going to be some special place that they're going to go to. Instead, she took them to a gem, I think a gem picking place, is that what it's called? Where a gem mining location. I'm like, all that rah-rah with Kenya, this is where you took them? To pick rocks? With a Trump supporting person, are y'all all black and sitting up there watching this man and you want to pick some rocks? Kenya's shade is hilarious with that Trump sign that she did what she did. It was hilarious. But you want to sit here and pick some rocks? This is what you were fighting for? Arguing with Kenya, girl, but I should let Kenya come. Because now Fatum takes her chance to now ruin it again and cause a fight and run her mouth because now she wants more time too. She ain't done. I'm like, Fatum should just go home. I don't even know why she's here. I don't get her presence here. She's Sheree's extra. She needs to go home. Then they're done with picking rocks at the back of the house. Marlo is finally breaking down because the more Kenya's presence is there, the more her presence irritates her spirit because Kenya is not really giving her, the host, any attention. And somehow Kenya ignoring her is really getting to her and getting to her spirit because I think one of two things. One, Kenya is able to shine it in her face that she kicked her nephews out. Number one, while she was screaming, keep William's name out your mouth. Keep Michael and William's name out your mouth. And Kenya's like, she's like, nobody would ever take me from Michael and William. Girl, you kicked them out. You took them from you yourself. So, and I think that Kenya is also able to shine a mirror to her face. This is how you're treating me. I'm going to treat you the same way. At the end of the day, Marlo not wanting Kenya to talk about her family or her kid or whatever when she has done so much talking to Kenya about her face. Say she was fake pregnant, say she had a fake marriage, saying her mama don't want her. She had a lot to say to Kenya, and now that you're feeling you want to act like, oh, I'm going through a lot, I just need support, I feel worse than I felt when I first got here. Marlo, girl, deal with it. Deal with it, girl. This is what you asked for, child. Go ahead and enjoy this limelight that you're getting because what goes around comes around. While Kenya is not perfect and she ain't got her just due, you getting yours right at this moment because you didn't try this whole season. So you just talk so much crap about Candy. You talk so much crap about Sanya in her own Jamaican gathering. I want to know how much defending Sanya is going to do of Marlo in the reunion after she sees what Marlo was saying at her event. Because not that you're defending Kenya, trying to protect her, defending Marlo, trying to protect her from Kenya's wrath at your event. Sanya's going to see what you said about her at her event. Let's see how much protecting she's going to do for you, Marlo, when she sees your real face. Because I can't wait. Sanya's going to look so stupid defending her after all this mess. Y'all remember that? Then we have where Marlo now saying that she wants to gather all the ladies because she wants to have a conversation with them. Sheree's like, you know what? It's Kenya. Kenya, you know, it's Kenya that's just hear her speech. She came here in a dark cloud came. I said, that's not true. When Kenya came, Drew was excited to see her. Candy was excited to see her. Sanya was excited to see her. She was not rude to anybody. She didn't want to have a conversation with you, but she wasn't yelling at you. She wasn't cussing you out. So I don't know what dark cloud you're talking about. The only person I saw that was screaming and acting belligerent was Fatum. And maybe Drew. But Drew went ahead and threw her little dog bone. I don't know where she got that dog bone from or what time she had to go and buy a dog bone to throw to Fatum so Fatum can go and reach for that bone. While they're gathered in the house and Fatum is giving some tired camera time speech talking about, I'm so sorry for causing such a ruckus because, you know, I shouldn't have let some people get me there. Girl, bye. We don't want to see you. We want you to leave here. We don't want you to get nowhere except away from this camera. Then Marlo shakes her head, gives her speech, tells them that she feels worse than she did when she first came. She wanted to come out here. She wanted to bond with them. She wanted to depress. She wanted to get all this anger, animosity, really refresh herself and go back to life and see if she can get her nephews back after she didn't kick them out. And these ladies are making it worse. So Marlo, in order to get Kenya out of the house, kicks everybody out of the house. That's why she did that. She did not want Kenya around. But the only way she can get rid of Kenya is she got rid of everybody. And Kenya disrupts her spirit. So she asked everybody to leave. And I say, Sanya girl, after you're done defending her, she kicked you out. She told you to go. How you feel, girl? You came all over here to go home. At least all you did was disinvite somebody. They didn't even show up. You showed up and she's kicking you out. So Marlo Marlo kicks them all out. They all talk about how they've never been kicked out of a place before. Kenya just got up while she's giving her speech and saying whatever. She didn't even pay her dust. She just got up and started packing her stuff. Kenya is a whole mood this episode. She was a whole mood. Her life is blessed. She got her company going. She got her daughter that she always wanted. She got her kids. She's a better mom than her mom was to her. She's a loving parent. She came here to enjoy herself. She has good connections. She didn't made with people. Marlo is just sinking, spiraling out of control and just making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, child. I don't know what to tell you, girl. I don't think this trip would have fixed you, Marlo. I think that an exorcism would have helped you better than this one. Anyway, Marlo is left with her glam team while the other ladies go home. And then I had to ask the question, do I feel bad for Marlo? No. Marlo has been very mean-spirited time and time again. And for somebody that's going through a lot, and I say hurt people, she has been very mean-spirited. She dogged Candy out. She dogged Kenya out when Kenya just was sick and couldn't help Sheree when Sheree was making an ignorant decision dating an inmate that long. Number one. Number two, she has something to say about Drew in a negative way, even though Drew was the one who showed up at her house to bring whatever Kenya it is, sent Kenya bought to, for Sheree. She has talked about every single person on this cast, including Sanya, the person she's smiling in her face. Drew does not have, I feel like Marlo gets off on putting people down and trying to find a flaw in them because of her personal insecurities. And I think for her to now experience some of the stuff that she does to other people is either going to humble her or turn her into a worse version of herself. But things that got so bad for you that you kicked out 2 kids who already lost their mom that you agreed to be responsible for, and you want to sit here and say that you're the one who needs help by hanging out with your girls, spending money, while your nephews are now in a house with 4 other kids for a woman that doesn't make as much money as you, to now sit there and figure it out. And what your response was, maybe they'll learn to appreciate what I have. So basically you're trying to put them in your sister's face for them to see your sister don't have enough money like you do, so they want to come back to you because she can't provide for them like you do. That's what you think is what a kid wants, is money, not love, not care, not support, not reliability, not loyalty. Marlo needs to see a therapist. She really does. I feel like she needs to see a professional, and she needs to work through whatever it is in her spirit that causes her to be so mean. Because right now, I don't empathize with her. I'm empathizing more with the children because I don't know what the psychological impact of her actions is creating. So that's just my stance. Y'all can let me know what you think. Maybe the more Marlo milks the situation and how guilt-ridden behavioral patterns that she does, let me know what y'all think about that situation. And then go ahead and check out my Basketball Wives Season 9, Episode 3, Heavenly Intervention Review. That one's going to be a very short video, but concise, but it's still good. Because Heavenly, oh my God, just go watch it. All right? Bye.